Have you ever stopped to wonder why some people leave a lasting mark on your life while others simply pass through it like shadows? Why do certain women carry the memory of a specific man for decades while forgetting dozens of others in a matter of days? The answer isn't in money, it isn't in looks, it isn't in cheap seduction tricks. The answer lies in three fundamental elements of female psychology that, when mastered, make a man absolutely unforgettable. And today you're going to discover exactly what they are. First, let's talk about presence, not just physical presence, but that kind of presence that makes time stand still. You know when you're talking to someone and you feel like the world around you disappears? When every word is absorbed, every gesture is noticed, every emotion is perceived? That's genuine presence, and it's devastatingly rare. We live in a world of constant distractions, blinking notifications, minds split between 1,000 worries. Most men are physically present but mentally absent. They hear but don't listen. They look but don't see. They're there, but they're not really there. And women sense this instantly. They notice when you're mentally checking your phone, when you're formulating your next sentence instead of absorbing what they're saying, when you're more concerned with impressing than connecting. Genuine presence is about creating a sacred space where she feels seen, heard, and understood, on a level few men are capable of offering. It's about asking questions that demonstrate real, not superficial, interest. It's about noticing the subtle shifts in tone of voice, the pauses that reveal unspoken emotions, the gestures that tell deeper stories than words. When you master the art of genuine presence, you become an oasis in a desert of superficiality. You become the man with whom she can let her guard down, be authentic and feel truly understood. And that, my friend, is unforgettable. But presence alone isn't enough. The second element that separates ordinary men from unforgettable men is something most fear like the plague: strategic vulnerability. Hold on, I'm not talking about crying on the first date or dumping all your traumas on her. I'm talking about something much more powerful and calibrated. It's the courage to consciously show your imperfections, to share your real fears without playing the victim, to reveal your genuine passions without fear of judgment. Society has taught us that strong men are impenetrable fortresses, that showing any fragility is a sign of weakness. But female psychology works differently. Women don't connect with perfect robots. They connect with real human beings, with stories, scars, dreams, and fears. When you have the courage to say, yes, sometimes I'm afraid I'm not good enough, or that situation from my childhood still affects me, you're not showing weakness. You're showing emotional strength, maturity, authenticity. You're creating a safe space where she can also be vulnerable. And it's in this space of mutual vulnerability that the deepest and most lasting connections are forged. Strategic vulnerability is about consciously choosing what to share, when to share, and how to share in a way that invites intimacy without overwhelming. It's about being real without being heavy, being open without being invasive, being human without losing your masculine essence. Now, if you find this powerful, get ready, because the third element will completely transform your perspective on relationships. The third pillar that makes a man absolutely unforgettable is his ability to create unique emotional experiences. And here's the secret most people don't understand. It's not about spending fortunes on expensive dinners or exotic trips. It's about creativity, intention, and personalization. Women don't remember the price of a gift. They remember how they felt when they received it. They don't remember the five-star restaurant. They remember the deep conversation they had during a simple picnic in the park. The point is to create moments that resonate with who she is, not with what you think should impress her. It's about paying attention to the details she shares and transforming them into experiences. Did she mention she loves sunsets? Take her to watch the sunset from a special spot you discovered. Did she talk about a book that made a lasting impact on her life? Find a first edition and write a dedication connecting the book to something you've experienced together. Does she have a song that reminds her of her childhood? Learn to play that song and surprise her at an unexpected moment. It's these personalized moments, loaded with emotional meaning, that are etched into memory forever. Because you're not just creating an experience. You're showing that you see her, that you know her, that you care enough to transform information into emotions. But here's something crucial you need to understand. These three elements don't work in isolation. They intertwine, empower each other, creating a synergy that transforms you into someone truly unforgettable. Genuine presence allows you to capture the necessary details to create meaningful experiences. Strategic vulnerability deepens the connection created by presence. Emotional experiences validate and celebrate the intimacy built through vulnerability. It's a virtuous cycle that feeds itself and grows exponentially over time. And there's one more element that few talk about, but is absolutely fundamental: consistency. Not the robotic consistency of always doing the same thing, but consistency of character, of presence, of care. Many men start strong and then disappear. They're intense at first and then become negligent. But unforgettable men maintain the standard, not because they're trying to impress, but because it has become part of who they are. They remain present even after months. They remain vulnerable even when it would be easier to shut down. They continue creating special moments even when routine tries to swallow the magic. This consistency creates layers of memory. Each positive interaction builds upon the previous one, creating a rich and complex emotional tapestry that becomes impossible to forget. If you've been following along and feel that this content is opening your eyes to possibilities you hadn't considered, give it a thumbs up now. Share it with that friend who needs to hear this. And subscribe to the channel, because what comes next will further deepen your understanding of how to become truly unforgettable. Now let's talk about the obstacles that prevent most men from mastering these three elements. The first obstacle is ego. Yes, the male ego that we've been taught to protect at all costs. It prevents us from being truly present because we're always trying to seem interesting instead of being interested. It prevents us from being vulnerable because it equates vulnerability with weakness. It prevents us from creating authentic experiences because we're more focused on impressing than connecting. Ego is the enemy of genuine connection. It creates an invisible barrier that women sense instantly. They notice when you're performing instead of being, when you're trying to seem perfect instead of being real, when you're more concerned with your image than with the shared experience. The second obstacle is emotional laziness. It's much easier to follow ready-made scripts, use the same pickup lines, do the same generic dates. It requires real effort to pay genuine attention, open up emotionally, create personalized experiences. Most men choose the easy path and then wonder why their relationships are superficial and forgettable. They treat all women the same way, as if they were interchangeable, and then are surprised when they are treated as just another guy. Emotional laziness is a choice, and it's a choice that guarantees relational mediocrity. The third obstacle is fear. Fear of rejection if we are truly ourselves. Fear of being seen as weak if we show vulnerability. Fear of not being good enough if we don't follow the script of what a man should be. But here's the truth. Few have the courage to admit. Fear is what keeps us stuck in mediocrity. It's what prevents us from creating extraordinary connections. It's what condemns us to be forgettable. Because women don't connect with the edited, safe version of you. They connect with the real, raw, authentic version. And that requires courage. Let me tell you something that will change your perspective. Female emotional memory works differently from male memory. While men tend to remember facts and events, women remember how they felt in specific moments. They might forget exactly what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. They might not remember all the places you went together, but they will perfectly remember the feeling of safety, connection, and joy they experienced with you. That's why men who master these three elements become unforgettable, because they're not just creating memories, they're creating deep emotional impressions that intertwine with her identity. And here's something fascinating about female psychology. Women deeply value men who see them beyond the surface, who notice nuances others ignore, who spot subtle changes that go unnoticed. When you demonstrate this level of attention through genuine presence, you're communicating something powerful, that she is special enough to deserve your complete attention, that she is interesting enough to hold your focus, that she is valuable enough for you to turn off everything else and simply be there with her. This creates a feeling of being truly valued that is extremely rare and therefore unforgettable. Strategic vulnerability works on an even deeper level. When you have the courage to lower your defenses in a conscious and calibrated way, you're offering her a rare gift: trust. You're saying, "I trust you enough to show you who I really am," and this generates reciprocity. She feels safe to be vulnerable too. And it's in this dance of mutual vulnerability that real intimacy flourishes. But be warned, vulnerability is not emotional dumping. It's not using her as a therapist. It's consciously sharing genuine aspects of who you are in a way that deepens the connection without overwhelming. As for unique emotional experiences, they function as memory anchors. Each personalized and meaningful experience creates a unique emotional reference point. When she hears that song, she'll remember you. When she sees that type of flower, she'll remember the special moment. When she passes by that place, she'll relive the shared emotion. You are literally planting positive memory triggers that will be activated repeatedly over time, and each activation reinforces your presence in her emotional life. But let's get practical now. How do you implement this in the real world? First, start with small steps. Genuine presence can begin with the simple act of putting your phone away during conversations, of making real eye contact, of asking follow-up questions that show you were truly listening. Practice the art of being completely present for short periods initially and gradually expand. Use mindfulness techniques to train your mind to focus on the present moment instead of wandering. To develop strategic vulnerability, start by identifying your own areas of authenticity. What are your genuine passions that you hide for fear of judgment? What are the real fears you never admit? What are the experiences that shaped you, but that you rarely share? Begin by sharing these aspects in small, context-appropriate doses. Observe how people respond when you are real. You'll be surprised by the level of connection this generates. To create unique emotional experiences, develop the habit of paying attention to details. Keep mental or even written notes about things she casually mentions. Her interests, favorite childhood memories, places she'd like to visit, experiences she'd like to have. Then use your creativity to transform this information into special moments. It doesn't have to be elaborate or expensive. It needs to be personal and meaningful. The consistent implementation of these three elements creates a powerful compound effect. Each positive interaction builds upon the previous one. Each moment of genuine presence deepens the connection. Each act of strategic vulnerability increases intimacy. Each unique experience adds another layer to the emotional tapestry. Over time, you become not just a person in her life, but a significant emotional presence that is impossible to replicate or replace. And here's the final paradox that few understand. The less you try to be unforgettable, and the more you focus on being genuinely present, authentically vulnerable, and creatively attentive, the more unforgettable you will become. Because the intention to manipulate is easily detected and repelled, but the intention to genuinely connect is magnetic and irresistible. Women have a refined radar for detecting authenticity versus performance. They know when you're being real and when you're just following a script. If you've made it this far, you already have more knowledge about how to become unforgettable than 99% of men, but knowledge without action is useless. The question now is, will you continue to be just another face in the crowd, or will you implement these three elements and become the man she never forgets? The choice is yours. But remember, while you hesitate, other men are out there creating deep connections, being strategically vulnerable, and building unforgettable memories. Time waits for no one. Every day that passes is a lost opportunity to become truly unforgettable. So here's my final challenge for you. Over the next 30 days, commit to practicing one element per week. Week 1. Focus on being genuinely present in all your interactions. Week 2. Add strategic vulnerability, sharing something real about yourself in every meaningful conversation. Week 3. Start creating unique emotional experiences based on what you learned in the first 2 weeks. Week 4. Integrate all three elements and observe the transformation in your connections. Women never forget men who make them feel truly seen, deeply connected, and emotionally alive. These three elements are your map to becoming that man. Use them with wisdom, authenticity, and consistency, and prepare to occupy a permanent space in the memories and hearts of the women who pass through your life. Because in the end, it's not about techniques or tricks. It's about becoming the best and most authentic version of yourself. And that, my friend, is truly unforgettable. Did you like this content? Then leave your comment saying which of the three elements you found most challenging. Subscribe to the channel for more transformative insights on relationships and personal development. And remember, the journey to becoming unforgettable begins with a single decision. Make that decision today.